evening, trippers, from another one of our new locations, somewhere in Dublin. You may hear the Lewis go past. That'll give you a hint of our location, somewhere near Lewis. In tonight, as you can see, we're quite close to the Samuel Beckett Bridge. If that starts to open, poor old Andy will be whacked straight out the door.
That's a window.
Before he ever gets in at all. Where are we about? What am I saying here? Oh yeah, so good night, good evening, and how is that? It.
All the best.
Great podcast. That's just done. Right, good evening to you all. It's great to have you along. It is the Tuesday Club. It's the World Cup Tuesday Club. I'd love to have loads of rumours to talk to you about. We've only got 2. Of course, tonight I've got a full crew. I've got James O'Regan. Say hello, James O'Regan.
How's it going?
No, you meant say hello, James O'Regan. That's the gag. We've got Gar.
Hi, lads.
Thanks, Gar. We've got Andy Young, of course.
Hi.
Long-time member of the clan.
One of the founding members, actually.
One of the founding members.
Yeah.
Of
the boy band, yeah.
Of the boy band. Of the boy band. He was one of the few that have been there from the very first podcast. And beside him, of course, is the one and only Ray Dickens.
We've come a long way, haven't we?
Ray, you're the only one here representing England, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Prick. Right.
We've come a long way, Phil. The first
Andy,
night was in a boardroom too.
I know, Andy. I know.
It wasn't quite as...
But we,
yeah.
you know...
we had a Rice Krispie box and a dictaphone thing stuck in it.
You reckon?
Look at us now.
I know, it's a bit special, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gone corporate.
It feels nice, doesn't it? It just feels like that we've arrived. As Brendan would say, we've arrived. I'm just trying to find here because I've actually got something. I've lots of things going on here today. Anyway,
We have a big, huge screen as well.
we just can't see.
Can't see.
Yeah.
We can patch in other podcasts.
Any podcast in the world. I'm going to put Periscope here
Yeah.
on my phone so I can see what's going on though because I can't patch that in.
Yeah.
Right, so look, as we said, good evening. It is the Tuesday Club. We are going to talk a bit of shite because we know you enjoy that stuff. And of course, what else are we going to do? We are going to have a look at what's gone on in the World Cup so far. We're going to have a look at what is happening in the land of Liverpool. We're going to be looking at the contenders that we've seen over the first week. And I'm going to turn the volume down here now that I had this on. We're going to have a look at the contenders for the World Cup and the pretenders. The contenders and the pretenders, like that. And then we'll round it out there with some updates on transfer stuff that Andy's heard, of course. And we all know that Andy is one of the biggest ITKs out there. You might know him as Indy Coyle. Yeah, didn't you work in KFC? Yeah. So the only man from from Iraq. Anyway, as we all know, this podcast, of course, is brought to you in association with friends with RedsBet. They're a betting site tailor-made to Liverpool supporters, and they can also be used for the World Cup because there's a big fancy football thing going on. We've all got teams in it. RedsBet aims to share half of their net profits with Liverpool supporters and fan causes, so no matter what, the fans end up a winner. Check out the odds on redsbet.com or download the RedsBet app. Share the glory, and of course, gamble responsibly. But we want us to all get involved because there is a World Cup fantasy football going on. You might have missed the first matches, but don't worry about it. All our teams are rubbish, so you've got a good chance to catch up and beat us. Right?
Joe's
is Joe close to the top?
In his particular league,
yeah, but Joe made up his own league and put his own teams into it. Like all those teams that you see in Joe's league is just Joe. So I'm disappointed he's second in a league that he's the only person in it. It's like coming second in a 2-horse race. Anyway, so that's the crack. So of course, get on to RedsBet and actually join on in the fancy football. And if you do go on to RedsBet, you can choose us as a team or a club to support, and that way you can actually give us a handout as well. So anyway, it's great to have you in. If you're looking at Garrett, you're probably wondering what's on his arms. He drew them all himself, supposedly. So hopefully he has a share when he goes home. Won't be handy. Hang on a second. I'm going to stick the charger in before I run out of battery because we've had this before. Where is this club? Well, Andy, tell us people's story there. Go on, do something funny.
Oh, shit. Give us something to juggle.
Dance, monkey, dance. Don't Jesus Christ. I'll have to clean it up before I go. Anyway. There's just a bit of tea towel out there. We haven't got a good boy. Of course, we brought Ray in because England were playing last night, and the biggest news story. I feel a bit high at the moment. There we go. It's better. Of course, the whole world was watching England play, and from what we've been told on the BBC, they are now, of course, contenders for the World Cup, and it is arguably the greatest English football team of all time, and it's also the most likeable English team of all time.
They kind of are contenders for the World Cup.
Well, they're at the World Cup, so that makes them contenders. Unlike Egypt, unfortunately, who've just gone home.
And they're one of the better teams that have won a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
But like they're playing one of the worst teams I've seen in the World Cup.
Yeah, but like they've won a game.
Okay,
and
fair
they're
enough.
one of the better teams that have won a game.
Ray, you're a star. Do you know that? I'll keep you. Definitely.
what do you think?
Thanks.
England World Cup champions.
Champions. Might be a stretch, but no,
Did you see the trying to get our advert thing?
No.
As if like they were just sort of simulating England winning the World Cup
Oh, really?
and going around like all the news channels and
you're
different
fucking
things.
kidding me. Who put that?
Yeah, it's a real thing. Like,
And did
Are you
King
joking?
did
He's
He's a good man, Cup Ice.
was it King
Put that to
Harry
the lads.
who lifted the cup? Was it?
yeah, all of that sort of
Yeah.
shit.
King Harry?
Yeah.
Is that like King Harry Kane or is it like King Harry?
Oh yeah, King Harry Kane. Yeah, no, look, it was aside from the BBC commentary. Look, I've as a bit of a novelty factor, I've watched RTE all the way because obviously it's my first World Cup
In
in Ireland.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed the RTE coverage. To be honest with you, I think it's pretty decent. Back to BBC last night, and oh my god, it was some of the stuff they were coming out with was just unbelievable. Like, it's just dreadful. But in terms of what was going on the pitch, I thought England started the game pretty well. They were pretty decent first half an hour.
Yeah.
Obviously, the penalty was like completely against the run of play, but ultimately, you know, they had to dig in. Second half, they weren't as impressive as they were in the first half. They were very wasteful in the first half. Found that they were a lot more laboured in the second half. I think the flies had a lot to do with it, personally. I don't underestimate the power of them flies. You know, they're midgies. You know, so basically,
Is this the first time we've seen stadium flies?
I think
Stadium?
it is. Yeah,
Stadium?
yeah.
Yeah.
Like they look pretty annoying, really, to be honest with you. Same for both sides, and all that sort of stuff was getting thrown out there. But it was funny, actually. Last 10 minutes, the BBC were throwing out no end of excuses. It was like one excuse after another for about 10 minutes.
The humidity.
It was all coming out, and then it was but it's the same for both sides. Was always thrown on the end of it.
Did the flies go after either team more? So did you notice?
I'm sure that would have been the case.
Did anyone do fly watching? Kind of an analysis on the flies.
So look, they overcome the flies. They overcome what is usually a slow start for themselves in tournaments, and you know, there's so many 1-1s there's been to start tournaments off, and they've got 3 points on the board. I mean, they've moved away from a point where they could have been relying on goal difference by the end of it. You know what I mean?
Right,
that was how crucial that goal was.
I got to ask because you are, of course, unfortunately, an Englishman, but like, you know, were you proud of that performance last night as an Englishman?
No, I wouldn't go that far. All I'd say is that it was a relief that they didn't make a holy show of themselves, to be honest with you, because that's the last thing you want out to your national team, to be honest with you.
And did you do? I know I'm kind of co-hosting here.
You're just fascinated, are you? I don't mind.
I'm really interested.
Try to get the insight of an English mind.
Did you do a little rendition of there was fucking 6 German bombers?
No, I don't get into it.
No?
I don't get into any of that nonsense. No.
That's proper all well done.
I think the shot would go. He had to bang the ceiling of a train.
Did you?
Yeah. That's what you have to do.
That's fantastic, Andy. I think you were more of an Englishman now than anything else. You seem to know all the songs.
Go Bulldogs!
Let's go Bulldogs!
Gar, you're a coach fella, aren't you?
Yes.
That's great to know. Outside when you're doing
UEFA
tattoos.
level.
If you looked,
You talk into the microphone.
what's your
I told
UEFA
you. You have to remember. I said
Big.
it's boy band.
if you looked at what Ray touched on in regards to psychology of how they've recently gone on in tournaments and always started off very slowly, that's a huge hurdle they've overcome.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have put huge pressure on them.
Surely just winning the tournament to be a bigger hurdle.
Yeah, well,
than just winning the first game against Tunisia.
But listen,
They're only a beach
we all
resort.
know that, like, we heard what BBC's commentary was like last night. It's where they were, you know, as I said to you, it was 1970 Brazil team in the first half.
There's a good comment. I'll tell you what, and it is worth talking about. Capois said England won't win it, Iceland will win it. So, like, given that Iceland is only 1 letter away from Ireland, I think like we can adopt them, right? James, were you impressed with the Iceland's clap?
What?
Did you?
I didn't actually see it this time, I only saw it in the European Championships last time. So,
Did you watch Iceland against Argentina?
I did, yes, but
So,
I didn't. I
you have the
turned it
volume off?
straight away. Yeah. So
Did you? All right.
Yeah.
But do you fancy Iceland for the World Cup?
Unfortunately not. But
they drew Argentina.
I know.
Yeah.
Argentina have Messi.
Decent result.
Messi was not very good. I think Iceland will probably get out of their group. I think they have enough about them. I thought they were quite good. They contained Argentina.
They had chances. They created chances
they had a chance
before they scored the goal, and after they scored the goal.
Yeah. So
they will score.
Absolutely. And,
they will score.
They're tough to break down, and Messi,
was Sigurdsson playing? Was he?
Yeah. He was kind of their playmaker. So he played well. But Argentina, Messi, Aguero, and Di Maria, and Mascherano, and the like, and they just didn't seem to click.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of teams, hasn't there? A lot of the bigger teams who haven't really sort of come to the party yet, have they? They've been, we were talking about England being slow starters habitually, but. Brazil, Germany were terrible. Yeah. France,
lucky.
They were fortunate to get out of there with that goal from Pogba with the deflection. So there was a lot. There's been a lot of Uruguay last minute goal. It's actually been like Russia have been the most dominant side so far in the two games by far.
And if you think in the build up to the World Cup, like everyone was saying, Russia are dog shit. They're rubbish. There's not a chance of them doing anything, and they've got 6 points. So nobody knows anything. Basically,
a lot of the comments have come in, and we see Copboys there, and most of them Liverpool to Chris and Mick Jones. Right? They're saying so they're basically saying that the only decent performance there were Hendo and Trippier last night. Right now, I know that all the paper was full of Harry Kane and his amazing, his amazing things. And I find Harry Kane one of the most reprehensible human beings alive today, right? And if he just disappeared off the face of the earth, it'd make the world a better place. Him and Trump. But ultimately, right, if Gary Kane gets man of the match because he scores 2 goals, right? He knocks one in when he's left free. I just don't understand it, right? I don't understand what the centre back is doing in the 93rd minute, in the corner, right? If Lovren does that, we've got 3 weeks of podcasts telling us how bad Lovren is. Right? Well, seriously.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It doesn't even have to be Lovren. Imagine Moreno did that.
I know, yeah, they were literally... Matip, right? There'd be a mob, a baying mob with pitchforks and torches.
We'd only let Robbo away with that at this moment in time, wouldn't we?
Maybe Trent.
Trent he gets his fair bit of stick.
Yeah. But in one kind of week of games, we've seen bigger glaring errors, like the world stage here, than we see Liverpool do week in, week out.
I know,
absolutely.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Like the Gea and I mean just lots of kind of defensive errors, like not picking up players, basic stuff as well, and people will go to
but
absolute
is that because
town.
In some ways the World Cup means so much more to the players than playing in the league sometimes, because some of them are actually quite passionate about their countries and playing for their countries, and
the pressure
the pressure of going home, especially teams who aren't full of multi-millionaires. Like imagine the shame of going home, having the guy, for example,
we know the Saudi Arabians are
who missed the penalty. Like that's going to affect him for the rest of his life.
Okay, I think let's talk about the contenders, and we'll throw England in the bunch because they have won the match, right? And to be totally honest with you,
it's an awful group as well, isn't it?
It's an awful group. They should come out of it easily, right? I'll start with the game of Friday. We've talked about Russia. Well, we haven't really talked about Russia, right? But they pummeled whoever it was 5-0 in the Saudi Arabia, right? Yeah. They've knocked 3 past Egypt tonight. Yeah. They've guaranteed progress through to the next round. They put 8 goals in two group matches. Yeah. They're already through, and they were probably one of the least fancy teams to do anything in this World Cup, despite the home
themselves.
Right? But they have the home crowd, and they've obviously got momentum going, which is a big thing. You go into Friday night, you see arguably the best two performances so far in Spain and Portugal.
Yeah.
I have to say they look 2 mature teams, ready to take a tournament by storm. Both very capable in the way they play. You had Spain who are dominant as we always expect in possession, and the Portuguese counter-attack is just phenomenal. Guedes had his goal scoring boots on. It could have been 5 goals for Portugal, and at that Spain could have had another 2 as well.
It was a great game, and you've also got to remember they've both won tournaments in recent history as well.
Yeah.
So as they progress through the tournaments, they'll have had that experience.
Yeah, and then you've got going into the weekend. So obviously you have some of the likely lads who are Argentina don't really perform well. Messi misses a penalty, but that's not really that surprising given that he never turns up in international tournaments. Wait to see that spark up people's. I know.
I think there's a certain person we know who might be getting on to you.
I know. But I don't really care because the evidence stands itself.
Yeah.
If he doesn't do anything at this tournament, it's
well, that's 4 World Cups, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just 4 World Cups; it's Copa Americas as well.
Yeah.
Right? Then after that, you've
war in a minute.
You've got. I have to say, Belgium have put in one of the most impressive performances after Spain and Portugal.
I was after the first half. I was like, that was rubbish. They were like wasteful. They were, and then the second half they just absolutely turned it on. Because like in the first half, De Bruyne was like running things, but they were just so wasteful, and Lukaku wasn't getting into
Lukaku was slow to get into the game,
and Hazard was just playing for Hazard. But it looked of it in the first half, he was just like taking pot shots and just really bad, and it's just like. And the opposition, it was like so bad. It's like we should have been at least 2 or 3.
But I think it was almost like they had like Panama. It was almost like they had that plan to get to half time at 0-0, and they just put so much into it that ultimately Belgium. It was just so handy for Belgium in the second half.
It's one of the things, like, you know, in a couple of years, or sorry, isn't it 2026? There's going to be 64 teams.
Oh, that's going to be mental. Yeah,
I'm not going to watch the first 2 weeks
in the World Cup.
In the World Cup.
In this World, not the Qatar one, the one after.
No,
how many groups is that going to be?
What's that? USA now?
15
Mexico,
groups of death.
and Canada.
It's the United World Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work, given the US and Mexico at the moment. How are the teams going to get across the border? Are they going to have to be in cages for the day? If you're bringing your kids, you mightn't see them for the next game. You might have to leave them on one side of the border and go over the other side.
Canada, yeah.
Trump will have changed the law and he'll still be in charge at this
Absolutely.
stage because the Americans love him. And like honestly, like how did 64 teams?
I know.
They'd be playing that for months.
Yeah.
Now
Ireland will qualify.
I was going to say the only upside is
I think everyone should go though.
Just
every team will go. Like literally every team will go.
Everything should go.
But that'll be the crack now. Can you imagine
qualifiers for a start? Nobody likes qualifiers. Breaking up the season.
There'll still be qualifiers.
No. Send every team. Send it and just have like a.
Shawnee, we don't care about facts, right?
If you just kind of kept the top 16 ranked teams, park them off one side, ready, and then kind of have a Hunger Games arrangement. For the other 100
for the other
teams.
slots.
Yeah, just slog it out.
Would you put them on? Would this is how you qualify? You put them on the Mexican side of the border?
Something like that.
And those who get to the US
side and get into the tournament.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't necessarily be football. It can just be like tunnels.
Yeah,
the works.
And if any shit teams get through, they can amalgamate. They can like a wild card.
What, like a Saudi Morocco combo or something like that?
Yeah, scare the bollocks out of teams.
How would like the fans won't be able to get to America? They don't have to, that's why they're doing Mexico and Canada. It's the only way that teams with fans that Trump doesn't want in America will be able to see the World Cup and go and support the teams. Be a very interesting draw, and they have to okay. A day trip. Mick, that's the best suggestion. So anyone who isn't watching the comments, Mick Jones just said 64 teams and the final will be in the North Pole. I think that's genius. We're back in the World Cup in the Arctic Circle.
The one upside of that would be there'll be no flies in the North Pole, will there?
No,
but there will be polar bears.
Because the polar ice caps are melting, so they will be.
Well, they won't have long then to do the North Pole World Cup. You want to get onto it quickly.
There is flies up there to be bastard flies.
Prehistoric flies.
Ice flies. Yeah. Dangerous.
Flies that have been, dead.
When they fly into the fucking court.
Imagine hard wings. They'd be like wings of graphite coming towards you.
It'd be like those flies in that sky thing. What was the one set in Sweden? Shit.
Game of Thrones.
No,
they're dragons.
No. I can't remember the name of the show, but
that's what they're known as, ice flies. They're dragons. Anyway, lads, where are we? Something to do with football. Okay, so contenders. We reckon Spain and Portugal in with a show. Disappointing team. The most disappointed team of the supposed contenders so far, Germany. I was going to get on to Germany.
Oh, they were so bad. Second half, when obviously...
Were they so bad? Because, and the reason I ask about this...
I still think they're qualified, though.
Because, right, they actually made a lot of chances. Yeah, they didn't get them on target.
But it was 26 shots in the end, It was a Liverpool-esque kind of
Well, that's what I was going to say.
It?
If that's a Liverpool match where they're going, well, there's no need to worry about it too much because we made loads of chances.
Yeah.
Right, and it'll be all sorted out. But, like, in a World Cup, you've got 3 games. If you don't get through your group...
Well, they've got what?
You're not going to win it.
Sweden on Saturday.
Yeah, Sweden.
So they should be.
But Sweden got 3 points, which really becomes do or die for them.
Absolutely.
Do you know? It really does.
Like Sweden could defend for 90 minutes and get a draw, and 4
points. They'd be in a great position.
Who else is in that group? Mexico, Sweden,
Iran,
is it?
Sweden, Mexico.
Sweden.
No, Mexico beat Germany.
Yeah. So who's the 4th team in the group?
Sweden beat someone 1-0 at the weekend, didn't they?
1-0. Was it Iran?
I think it was Iran.
Chinese teams in New Zealand or something like that.
No.
South Korea?
South Korea.
Was it South Korea?
South Korea.
South Korea.
Yeah.
South Korea. So South Korea. So like Germany against South Korea isn't... actually, Heung-Min Song has to either, right? So, Spurs have a problem with Heung-Min Song. I read this. I actually did some reading during the week, right? He has to do national service.
Does he?
Yeah. And the only way he can get out of it is if South Korea get to the semi-finals of the World Cup, or win the Asian Games, and both of them are taking place this year.
Really?
Yeah.
What's that got to do with that? Like, why?
Well, they'll need to get out of the group if they want to get to the semi-finals. The South Korean government
could have given them something achievable. Like.
No, you can be exonerated
in the constitution.
You can be exonerated from national service if you've done something special for your country.
Wow!
Right. Yeah. So the last time
Risa didn't have to do.
Risa's not South Korean, man.
But Norway has national service as well.
Young Risa. No.
But they have national service as well, and he got some sort of exemption. So.
Situation, isn't
it? The last time this football team got off with having to do national service was in 2002 World
Cup
when
they got to the semis. Yeah.
Jersey sales don't come into. He must have sold it.
No. New Balance's jersey sales don't come into that. But yes, so Germany anyway.
Germany, yeah. You wouldn't be surprised if they turned it round and they got 6 points, or they got enough to get out the group. I mean, if they draw against Sweden, then they're going to be reliant on Mexico beating Sweden and then putting a good few past South Korea. So they won't really want to be put in that situation. So they're going to have to beat, the Swedes. Really,
Yogi Low's being over loyal to a few people.
Yeah,
that Sané omission is looking.
Yeah, I don't agree with
ridiculous.
That. I think there's so much quality in terms of attacking wise of the German team. It's not that big of an issue. I think the real issue in that German team is the midfield, and it's completely unbalanced.
The same side.
In the same side, and then you've got Cruz as well, and you're just missing. You're missing one bastard.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say someone else.
No. Well, I'm going to say a player.
That's where you're leading up to.
He hasn't even got a club.
No, hang on. He has. He signed for United City and Juventus. He has a choice of 3. But no, you're missing that type of physical, imposing midfielder. Like somebody that can play that, whether it's Julian Weigl or Johannes Geis out of Schalke or someone like that he left at home and didn't bring. Oh, actually, Weigl I think might be with him, but they didn't play. But just that controller, someone to dominate a midfield. And when the Mexican team were breaking, they had so much space between the centre backs and who was meant to be in centre midfield.
Yeah.
Just when they counter attacked,
it was Kroos, Boateng.
He's on loop.
Which is
that it's playing the same 4 seconds over and over again.
It's not. Trust me. There?
Yeah.
Well, it shouldn't be. But I think we're just looking at the wrong part. It's fine. It could be on this one. I don't know. Anyway, I'll worry about it later on. What was I saying to you?
For the German setup.
The German setup. Yeah.
That how vulnerable they were on the counter attack was the most shocking, wasn't it? Really.
Kroos, Boateng, and Hummels.
You know,
and the 2 of them at the back who are slow anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that was the shocking element of it. It wasn't necessarily about the fact that they weren't creating stuff, because they were creating situations. which ultimately they didn't capitalise on, and they were having a lot of shots on goal, which ultimately came to nothing. But it was how exposed they were at the back, and some of the body language as well. You know, they just didn't seem to be that kind of that collectiveness that you expect with the German side. You know, they were horribly exposed. They didn't play as a unit. You know. It was just so untypical of them at tournaments. But then they came into the tournament with such a shocking run of form anyway. So like it's not a bolt out the blue, is it?
No, and I think they won one game in a run of 7 friendlies or pre-World Cup matches that was going on
or something like that.
But it's not unheard of that the World Cup winners miss out. Because didn't Italy go out in the group stage in the last World Cup, or in one of the group stages where they won the World Cup as well?
France have gone out. I think was it Spain went out, didn't they? Spain went out after they'd won it. I think there's only 1 out of the last 4 that have actually got out the group or something. It's a crazy stat, really.
Moving along, lads, the Liverpool players in the World Cup, and I'm asking about this because like there's so few that are playing. There seems to be so few players. Like outside of Salah, Mane, Henderson.
I thought Lovren's twin brother was amazing, personally.
For Serbia?
Croatia.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I thought he had a solid game.
He actually did.
Yeah.
But is that because the concentration level goes up in certain games?
Possibly, I don't know, but he looked pretty solid to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was pretty decent. He's the one who stood out for me. Henderson was decent enough last night. Who else?
Mane was playing today, but I
didn't see Mane.
There's a lot of mixed
didn't see Mane
responses to Henderson's performance last night.
I thought he was decent. I mean, he wasn't by any stretch man of the match, but he was definitely a 7 out of 10. You know, it was solid, and yeah, I mean,
I think he was very effective. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I thought he was very effective in that midfield. He was playing against the poor midfield, and he was asked to do certain things, and he did it well. Gary, you'd know much better than I would be with the coach.
Last night he made things happen. He got on the ball. He was playing a lot of forward diagonals. That, in fairness, that I think I said last night, if Vardy had been on the end of him and playing along the box a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, England would create even more chances.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Obviously, Kane stays
Talk into that
central.
mic there.
Sorry, apologies. Kane stays very central, so Henderson's diagonal balls were going to Trippier most of the time.
Yeah.
In fairness.
Yeah.
I don't think he only hit one of them that slightly went out of play because the player didn't time the run.
Yeah.
I thought very, very well. I would have thought he was England's best player. Him and Trippier went well.
Yeah, I thought Trippier did impress me, to be honest with you. I mean, I've been keeping that much of an eye on who's been getting the start for England, and I was, when I seen the starting lineup, I thought, geez, I didn't actually realise that he was to a point where he was a starter. Do you know what I mean?
He was the only one in that midfield last night because Ali was injured after 10 minutes.
That was a crazy situation because it looked like he should have gone off. He should have been substituted.
Lingard was obviously the one told to attack between the three of them, so he was going forward more than not. In fairness, trying to make late runs. So in fairness, Henderson was the pivot at midfield, trying to control things, and he did it well. In fairness,
the fella who seems to have had a lot of attention since coming on as a sub last night is Loftus-Cheek.
I thought he was really impressive.
He was actually,
he was very direct. He was actually for a player who hasn't been able to make it for Chelsea and has been getting a run out on loan at Palace.
What's his actual position?
He's plays centre, usually in a three or two.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah, and he was very effective down the right there when he came on.
He got the corner for the goal, like so.
Yeah, and I thought Rashford he was decent when he come on. I thought he caused problems. Sterling had definitely run his course at that point. He was so frustrating. So frustrating. Like the positions he was getting in, he should be.
But isn't that classic Sterling?
It is classic Sterling. Sterling's stats looked decent last year in terms of his goals and assists return. But in reality, he should have been Mo Salah levels, really.
Probably double it.
The team that he's playing in, the situations he gets himself into. He
frustrates the hell out of City fans because the rest of their players are all very complete.
Yeah.
And if what's his face comes in off Leicester, Mahrez,
Mahrez,
who's gonna go? Sterling. I know they've loads of games to play, they can rotate and all that, but Sterling drops down in the pecking order if that happens.
Well, he was getting 70 to 80% of games last season, wasn't he?
Like,
that'll drop.
He's refused a new contract after Man City. Yeah.
But that's not unusual because
Sterling?
he's previously refused them.
Nearly.
What's the next step? What's the next step for Sterling?
It's down.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but does he think maybe he's going to get a move on the continent? Maybe.
So that was. So Harry Kane is level top scorer with the well done, Red or Dead. That's we've enjoyed that one. Harry.
Okay, so like let's say Sterling's looking for a team in the continent. What's his level? Because he's not going to go to Barca. He's not going to go to Real. He's not like
PSG maybe.
Juve.
No, I think
won't pay that money from.
Atletico Madrid.
You reckon Diego Simeone is going to fucking put up with that shit? Not a chance in hell.
I couldn't imagine him leaving England at all. Yeah. And then if he stays in England, where does he go?
London, Arsenal.
Where does he go?
Sterling.
Arsenal.
Such an Arsenal player.
Sterling is an Arsenal player.
Chelsea.
You think so?
Yeah.
What was an interesting thing as well. I think it was mentioned on. Was it on? I think it might have been on the RTE commentary actually. But every England player actually plays in the Premier League. Like it's just not a done thing, is it, for one of the top English players to go and play abroad now?
The younger ones have started to go, like Leon Bailey and this another one.
Lookman went to Dortmund, didn't he?
Yeah.
Lookman. He went to Gladbach, was it? Yeah, he did really well there. Yeah. Lads, look, we'll go back to Liverpool. So we had Lovren, we had Hendo, who did very well. So Lovren and Henderson did very well. Mane played well today for Senegal, but he didn't set the world. I thought Mane was going to really blow up in this tournament.
That's only one game, and the funny thing is the way the groups potentially can work out now. There's a very real chance that it's England Senegal in the next round, which would be really intriguing.
Yeah, in terms of what's there. But then going back to, do we have something different? Have we seen someone that has stood out to us to say that's the player I want
in the World Cup so far?
Yeah,
no,
it's too early as well.
No. Nothing, not one.
No.
What about Fekir? And the reason I asked because his agent was on last night saying that
looks like it's done.
Said, well, done. Did everyone not jump at this on the basis that it was like, oh, he's back and it's on again? But in reality, the agent was just saying the story's not over. I.e., I can't tell you what's happened now because we haven't secured a move from. But when it does, it could well be a case of we can't really tell you now, but we will be able to tell you in a while, but just not at this moment in time.
Surely most of the players at the club have gone on annual leave now, haven't they? Do you know what I mean? It's like we've got a self-imposed transfer embargo. Yeah. In my mind, I don't think we'll see any business done within the World Cup.
Well, Atletico Madrid signed Lamar.
I mean Liverpool. I don't mean other teams will do what they want to do.
People have holidays, like they're entitled to holidays. Klopp is leaving.
Klopp is
James Pearce, like.
James Pearce he only came back to work yesterday.
Notably quiet for the whole Fekir thing. He was on holidays, no wonder.
Well, that's because he knew. He said there's no point in going in.
Yeah.
There's no point in going in at all.
Now, like, Fekir is done.
Well, if you haven't heard, if Fekir isn't done, so everyone knows out there, Grizz is deactivated.
Yeah. He is. He
is. We're going to take his phone off him and delete his profile and everything.
But there was a group on Twitter, a DM group, actually, and
DM group,
they said there was one of them was saying there that a source close to the player has been speaking to Fekir and it's done. So,
is this a source close to the person in the DM, or a source close to the deal was talking to the person in the DM?
Yeah, it was a bit vague.
Like good IT case.
Absolutely.
The source close to the group.
I was speaking of it. I'll read it out.
Are you going to give the person's name?
No, I can't.
Okay. Just give out their username.
I was speaking to a source close to the player.
Right.
And the player himself has told the source that it's done.
Right, can I have a look at who it is?
I'll show you.
Okay, show us. All right.
See, you didn't expect that one.
I wasn't expecting that at all. No. Rhymes with Ray. Ray Jelly. Anyway, where are we? So, lads, look, Arsenal have signed a goalkeeper.
Yes.
As I said, Leno would go to England for 25 million.
Has that actually happened?
Yep.
Leno just signed tonight for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got about 2 weeks ago.
There's a video of him catching books.
Yep.
I feel like I called about 2 weeks ago.
This is what
frustrating.
To
everyone,
us.
I said no. I said Leno to England. I just said Leno deal done 25 million. Everyone immediately assumed that it was to Liverpool.
Yeah.
I told you all it was a done deal. Right there now in the bag.
Happens to the best of us.
I know, yeah. I know. Happens to the best of us. I was in my DM group.
Yeah.
That's what they tell me.
Yeah.
No DMs.
Yeah.
What did we think about our backup plan then in Shaqiri when he with Switzerland?
Yeah.
I was more impressed.
My interest is cool than him, I believe.
Okay, I'd say...
According to Sky Sports.
the one player I've wanted us to sign from Switzerland for now 4 tournaments, right, is the centre-back Fabian Schär.
Oh, Fabian Schär, yeah.
And
is he still at Basel?
No.
No.
He went to Valencia for a while.
Him and who's the other fella who's only just on the scene for Switzerland?
The one
Dennis, no, that's Manuel Akanji has gone to Dortmund, and then Zakaria, the defensive midfielder. If we hadn't signed Fabinho, I would have been leading a one-man crusade to sign Zakaria for our centre midfielder as a defensive midfielder. But I will say, Schär will be an ideal partner and an ideal player. Like in the last minute of that game, he made a block, then did a goal line clearance, and wins the header then from the corner as they blow up the whistle.
Fair play to Switzerland, like, because I thought Brazil started that game very well, and I thought, here we go, like these are the real deal.
Yeah.
First 20 minutes. You know,
Jan Sommer as well, the goalkeeper, was excellent.
Like Jan Sommer.
The only thing that you might say, he seems a little bit on the small side for a goalkeeper. Now he's still 6'1", but he just, there's that sort of thing. When you look at your man Pickford in goal for England, he looks tiny. He dives small as well. He's just. I've literally, as much as I've criticised Butland for as a goalkeeper for us, I don't know how.
There's no standout keeper, is there? Let's face it.
No,
there is no standout keeper.
Even Neuer looks out, but like he's missed a whole year of football. Or he's only played 2 friendlies before the tournament starts. He doesn't look anywhere near the level he was. De Gea has a horrific error. That was hilarious. I enjoyed all those memes where it was like just taking Karius over.
That way he got Karius off the hook.
Yeah. Although
it's just as high profile now, that mistake, at the
only saving grace for him was it's the first game in a group and it's 2 games
as opposed to the final. Although from new video footage that came out, it appears that Ramos concussed him just before he let that one in. Yeah. Didn't know Ramos went in there with a slow elbow in the head. Yeah.
Well, if you can get a doctor's now from Boston,
then he's all right.
Maybe all right.
I'll do a few podcasts. The other thing about the Gea thing is supposedly the Madrid press has gone mental about this, right? And they want him dropped for the next game. Honest to God, I'm not messing about this.
It's another loop going on there.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that. Just ignore that now at this stage, right? But they're saying that he is.
Who do you want instead?
He's not playing. He doesn't play well in the Spanish national team, and he should be dropped. And they should either put Reina or Kepa or Isabel Bagzag.
Reina.
Yep. Honest to God.
The press are just mad no matter what country.
Is that Marsha?
This is the thing about international football, isn't it? There's all little agendas, there's all personality clashes, there's egos.
They probably hate
for never Spain fired their coach
I know,
a day before the fucking tournament.
But we're talking. You're a dark horse for the tournament. Dark horse. Spain's my dark horse for the tournament. Wow, never heard of them. But they fired a coach. But see, again, the Madrid press have a thing against De Gea because De Gea didn't force through a move to Madrid.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And
the fax machine broke.
Yeah, but no, genuinely, this is the thing behind it, right? And they want him out because they think that your man Kepa could actually be the player, that the goalkeeper that Lopetegui now will go and sign as opposed to Alisson or Courtois.
Who's he playing with?
Bilbao. Yeah, he played against us in the Aviva last year in the pre-season friendly.
So how haven't we been linked to him?
We have on this pod.
It's just so much I listen to us.
That was how much I listen to here.
So is he potentially a goalkeeper that most of our fans will have only heard of, on Twitter or on a podcast?
Yes.
He was going to Madrid at Christmas, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was going to Madrid at Christmas.
He must sign, and then all of a sudden he's been, talked about for 60, 70 million, and people have meltdowns over that could happen with him.
Yeah.
Right. I must take a note of
that. And if you want a few more, Alphonse Areola, whose move supposedly to Napoli has fallen through because the Napoli have signed somebody else, right? He could be available for 35 million from PSG, and he's the French number 2, right? Highly rated goalkeeper.
Yeah. So there is other goalkeepers out there. Like it's not just
the more I think about it, the less I think we're going to splash.
The Lazio goalkeeper. Yeah, him. I don't know. I don't see the point in signing him. He's basically he's the Albanian national keeper, I think he is. But I think it's much of a muchness between him and Karius and
the Alisson and Butland stories seem the perfect sort of sideshow to go on while they go and actually get the goalkeeper if they want to.
So have a look in your DM group and tell us now, is Kepa done there?
Oh, well, I might start it.
Yeah. Ray.
Yeah.
Anyone you'd like to see us sign? Given that we're supposed, well, I'll put it because I'm not going to labour the point because we are nearly wrapped here. But I will ask you this question, right? Looking at the World Cup and your observation that it doesn't look like we're going to do any business, right? Is there any logic if our targets aren't at the World Cup, why we shouldn't just get them wrapped up while the World Cup is gone and nobody's paying any attention?
No, there's not, other than the fact that maybe there genuinely are people who are just taking some time out over the next few weeks, which is one possibility. But then the other possibility is that our targets, the other thing to deduct from that is our targets are playing in the World Cup.
Right.
So no one stands out for me. I mean, if you think about, we link ourselves with so many players. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, on the pod we were talking about Boateng. I mean, how bad a signing does that to sort of watching Germany? So, I'm never one to go overboard about signing someone off the back of a World Cup. Hopefully they've identified players pre-World Cup, and if they do something in the World Cup that sort of confirms that conviction, then all well and good. But I would not want them to rush in to sign someone just because they have an amazing 3 or 4 games.
Okay. So you wouldn't send Klopp out? No. Like Wenger went out to get Sanchez that time.
It is a bit mad how much has happened since last Tuesday. When you put it all together, between Spain sacking their manager, a whole series of games. We started our second round of games today. We've seen every single team play.
Fixtures coming out.
Fixtures have come out.
US Open.
US Open. Some computer player won the US Open, and then a bucket of paint came second. And the fixture, we haven't even talked about the fixtures. Were they good fixtures for you?
The early games give us a chance to get some points on the board, and
Mourinho's not happy anyway, is he?
Mourinho will never be happy about that.
The run in looks like it were competing for anything, whether it's to try and get top 4 again December. Or to whether to go and win a league.
Tough December.
Yeah,
it is a tough December.
Well, just like the one gone as well, December, January had a few difficult fixtures. Well,
most of those tough games are at home though. That's the only thing you would say.
The winter break? Well,
that's next season, isn't it?
Yeah. That's next season.
Yeah.
But the way they're implementing the winter break,
you're still having the madness of December,
and then you're having your break, is it?
There's an FA Cup game in the winter break, isn't there?
Yeah. But it's also a staggered winter break, so it's a week off. So they're doing half fixtures 1 week and giving those teams a week off.
Okay. So they don't lose too much ground on actually playing the season.
It's not a proper.
That's going to be interesting.
Winter break. They would be better off just England should just dump the FA Cup at this stage, right? Just dump it.
Yeah.
The League Cup I've no issue with because they play that in February and it's a nice little midweek thing. Let the young players out to play in them and everyone keeps interested and it's done all by February, right? There's no need for the FA Cup. It's a nothing tournament. Nobody cares about it, right? Except the commentators and BBC. But it's genuinely it isn't. It's all about Europe and it's about winning the Champions League and it's about it's winning about the league and ultimately that's it. And the FA Cup just takes a stupid time in the season. Get rid of the FA Cup or play it midweek. like they do in the other countries around Europe. They play their cup competition midweek, so it doesn't affect league fixtures.
Yeah, it is a pain now, isn't it? When you're trying to challenge for in Europe a league and all that sort of stuff. It is now becoming a pain. I guess it's because of the whole history of it, and the early rounds. You've got the non-league teams coming through and all that sort of stuff, and giant killing and all that. So it's in the fabric of the English game, and people just,
it's a myth though.
But a lot of people just, certainly in football, in terms of the FA, they just can't let go of it.
Anyone can win it, right? They just need a bit of luck there. No, they can't. It tends to be the same teams in the top 5 or top 4 that get to the final year on year.
Yeah. You can't show football at 3 o'clock in England. Sure, you can't on a Saturday because
they're getting rid of that rule.
They're getting rid of it. Well, they want, isn't it? Because they want people going to their local clubs and all that. Yeah. So the last thing they're going to do is take out the only lifeline they have. The 2 non-league football, 2 lower division football that can actually come up against the players in the top flight teams.
That's it.
So it's never going to be changed or abolished or anything like that. And it's like it'll become fashionable again. It's just the way things go in football at the moment. It just seems like a complete and utter inconvenience.
Massively so, yeah.
But should we get to a final, we'd be fucking.
I want to ask a question, and I'm going to wrap up the podcast on this question because, but this time next week, I think we'll have seen everyone. The group stages will be nearly finished in the World Cup.
We'll have seen everyone twice. Yeah.
So give me your surprise team to get through, and your surprise team to go out.
Let's see, surprise team to go out. Argentina.
Okay, and to go through.
Iceland.
Okay. Gar, your learned opinion. Surprised to go out, surprised to go through.
Germany to go out. Senegal.
To go through?
Yeah. Would that be a surprise? They've won their game.
Such an open group though, isn't it?
It's an open group, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've won their game. Peru to go through. I thought they were extremely unlucky.
Yeah.
The occasion got
Guerrero was
very good.
He was very good. Yeah, he had a good few chances.
Who've they left to play now after that defeat? What group are they in?
Oh fuck, I don't know. Do
you want me to look it up?
Yeah,
go on. Keep talking away there.
Games. Oh, breaking news.
Go on.
Jack Wilshere has left Arsenal.
Well, you're going to hear all types of rumours linking them with us. So,
yeah.
So he's
Emery and Wilshere are clubless.
Wow.
Yeah. And you have to fear for the Argies.
Peru are in with Australia, Denmark, and France.
So to play France and Australia.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. So Peru to go through.
Yeah.
And who's the surprise team to go?
You have to fear. You have to fear for the Argies.
Yeah. It's a tough enough group. Croatia, Iceland, and Nigeria. None of them are they've obviously drawn with Iceland. Croatia are sitting there top of the group, and Nigeria didn't look great when they played. I have to say.
No, they didn't. No. They didn't. But obviously, you'd fancy Iceland to beat Nigeria.
Right. Give me your surprise and your surprise in, your surprise out.
My surprise in. Big shout, I suppose, but things could unravel. This is in the same group. I'm going to say my surprise in is going to be Switzerland, and I'm going to make a big call and say Brazil.
They're having a bit of a meltdown over Neymar, aren't they?
You robbed me thunder. I was going with the exact same two, and I tell you why, right? I looked at Switzerland.
I don't think Neymar will be able to go back to Brazil if.
I think Switzerland are more organised.
There was a video today of him limping.
He's gone out. He was out with training after 15 minutes today. Yeah. Firstly, if Neymar
get their Firmino wish,
Andy, if Neymar, if they insist on playing Neymar in all the group games and are too scared to drop him, I don't believe Brazil will get out of the group, right? And I think Switzerland will be a better organised team than Brazil. Yeah. And for that reason, that's why I think Switzerland go through.
Do you think Neymar just turn around in the next game?
I don't think he's able to. I think he's injured.
I mean, he was on one foot, wasn't he, for the last 20 minutes?
Everyone was saying, "Oh, why didn't they take Jesus off and put Firmino on? He would have freed up Neymar." No, why didn't they take Neymar off and play Firmino and Jesus up?
Yeah. No one would have to. No, the manager would not have the balls.
The manager hasn't got the balls.
Yeah, politics.
Supposedly in Brazil, though, they're going mental over that Neymar was still on the pitch.
Were they? Yeah.
Yeah, which is mad. And if that gets through to the manager, he may drop, because managers do succumb to media pressure, particularly in big tournaments when this comes to it.
They're very reliant on like, he's their talisman, isn't he? This is like, there's quite a few teams in the tournament where if their talisman goes down, then the things change pretty dramatically. I mean, we've seen it with Salah, didn't we?
Salah tonight, yeah.
You know, that's a classic example. They had nothing really else to go to war with. Do you know what I mean? So
Colombia going out could also be a surprise one.
That's a mild surprise, yeah. But especially if a team like Japan go through at their expense.
At their expense, like, you know, they're big scalps. But if any of Argentina, Germany, or Brazil goes out, one of them will go out.
I think
so.
And
one of them will be the shock of the tournament.
Yeah.
Who do you hope then in that instance? Which one would you like to see go?
Out of those three?
Yeah.
Of Argentina, Germany, and
Brazil.
Argentina, just because of what's happened down the years.
Yeah.
The Falklands.
I thought he was about to go there. I wasn't sure.
Did I have a bigger grudge against the Germans? They did refuse twice.
Oh, Jesus.
Your preference?
Germany.
Germany of the three. Okay.
Piss off the... What you call them?
Bundesliga fans?
Bundesliga hipsters.
Gar?
Argentina.
Yeah.
Messi will tour again.
Yeah.
It's not like Messi.
Love Messi.
Right.
Just the team just built around them. It's not a good choice.
But they have Aguero up front as well. You know.
James, of the three, who would you like to see fail miserably? So that you can laugh at their failure.
Argentina.
Argentina?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I have to say, of the three of them, I don't think Argentina can win the tournament.
No.
I don't think Argentina will the tournament. And I think either Brazil or Germany will be capable of stopping Harry Kane. And for that reason, that's why I want Argentina. But I actually would prefer Brazil to be knocked out. And the reason why I prefer Brazil to be knocked out is because I think Neymar is a myth.
Yeah.
I don't like Neymar. I don't like Neymar and I don't like Messi. I won't lie to you. I actually don't like Messi. I think he's a horrible blight in football. He needs to be removed. Him and Harry Kane. Get them all. And I'll send them up to space. With Trump's Space Force.
Spain and Portugal final would be amazing, wouldn't it?
It can happen. It's happened before. It's happened before. You can, like that. Basically,
I don't think they can't meet again.
You can't meet again till the final if you're in the same group. It's happened before.
Right, lads. Thanks.
Yeah, just had to throw that in there.
Thanks. Thanks, James. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Gareth, thanks for coming in. Andy, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Right, thanks.
Cheers. I'm just going to see if there's a clamp on the car now.
I don't know if I know we've had issues with the stream. There seems to be issues with the internet or whatever tonight. Anyway, listen, thanks for anyone who's watched. It will be out later on the iTunes and the Podbeans and the podcasts. It is also on YouTube, so I think the YouTube feed was probably worked better than the